Hello, welcome to my channel. It's Róisín here with another collection of sketches in ink and watercolour. Well, you're very welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you my little notebook from the last couple of months for June and half of July. It's a little sketchbook that I take with me wherever I go. So everything gets recorded in there, from the most ordinary of things like a trip on the train to gorgeous countryside and everything in between. You know, it's easy to look up every couple of years and go, oh my God, what have I done with the last couple of years? I barely remember what I've done and what I've been up to. But when you have a little sketchbook with you that you can take with you everywhere, like a little set of watercolours, an ink pen and a couple of simple travel brushes, it's really a great pleasure to make a little ink and watercolour record of what you've done. And then you have this little collection in a sketchbook that you can look back on and really relive the time that you've spent making those sketches in a really creative way. It brings back memories in a way that's very real, I think. In some ways more real than a photo. Who knows why? I don't know why. I think it's something to do with the fact that it's in your hand. There's something very unique about a little sketch. Think about those little, I suppose, contemporaneous sketches made in the 19th century and in the past. There's nothing to compare with them unless you do something similar yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope maybe it even inspires you to take up your paints and your pens and do something similar yourself. So enjoy the video and I'll chat to you in a little while. One of my very favourite brands of sketchbook is by Hahnemühle. It's the 100% cotton and I love the small A6 size. Here are some tubes of oil paint and some solvents that go with this very wonderful activity, and some brushes as well. The reason I drew this in the front cover of the sketchbook was because, well, mostly because I had a blank couple of pages there and I wanted to put something in it. But also it marked my foray, my adventures in plein air oil painting. I took a course at the beginning of July with an artist I really, really admire. And this is what he recommended that we buy. In this page, you see Babette, my parents' little dog, my parents' little black terrier, and Reuben of this parish, Reuben, whom you know well if you're a subscriber of mine. And in this picture, it is a drawing of Babette and Reuben taking tea together. And it's inspired by Beatrix Potter and her beautiful work from the 19th century. Drawn because I was doing some illustration with my students. Each week I do a different illustration, always featuring Reuben, just because he makes a nice muse. Well, this next one feels like a long time ago now. This was drawn at the beginning of June. We'd had some rain and some little baby apples had fallen off the tree in a windy episode, and I thought they'd look nice if I drew them, so I did. Okay, on this one on the left, you've got a lady drawn at the doctor's surgery in the waiting room. Now, that isn't the body of the head of the lady drawn there. In fact, they were very different types of ladies. But what can you do if they don't hang around, if they go before they're fully drawn? What can you do? And I ended up with a blank space on the right. And so I decided to draw a lady that I saw on the beach in Bray a couple of weeks ago. She was a fine figure of a woman. She was hefty and strong and big. And I just thought her shape was beautiful. I also very much enjoyed drawing the sparkles on the sea. Now, in this one, this came on the 7th of June, which was the last day of Nature Journaling Week 2025. And I'm not really in the habit of nature journaling, but this day I thought I would. And I went down to the shore, I drew some sea spinach. You can see that up there on the top left. Now, I'm a divil for sea spinach, but only when it's fresh and young, which is basically in the month of May. It's absolutely delicious. It's a bit like chard or kind of like, I don't know, spinach. And then I drew the whelk with nobody living in it on the bottom on the left, and then I drew the shore on the right, complete with oyster, I suppose, platform where the locals raise and harvest oysters. Well, I really enjoyed making that illustration of Reuben and Babette in the style of Beatrix Potter, and I decided that there was something to be gained from using the work of illustrators of the past who had done these stunning illustrated picture books for kids. And this one is from Jean de Brunoff's Babar. And he's the one who did that elephant in the crazy flares and the green suit who goes back to Africa. It's a really, really odd story. But I used to love those as a kid. Well, I don't know about love them. I found them a little bit, I suppose, a bit weird. Anyway, they look very, very pretty, and I decided to put Reuben once again in the starring role. And on the left, you've got Reuben Le Petit Chien, so it's basically channeling the exact same style as Jean de Brunoff's Le Petit Éléphant. And I did Reuben in a wheelbarrow because that's his favourite mode of transport. He just loves to be wheeled around in a wheelbarrow. And then on the right, I put Le Voyage de Reuben. Again, it was Le Voyage de Babar. And here we've got Reuben on a porpoise, because I used to see porpoises in Galway Bay as a little child, and I wanted to sort of, I suppose, bring in my own experiences. So I loved doing this, and I did this in class with my students, and we all loved it, and they put their own pets in, so it was a big success. This one is a funny one. I went to my old art college, NCAD, on Thomas Street in the middle of Dublin. And I went down to the basement because I was a little bit early to meet my daughter. And lo and behold, I was hit by such a memory when I saw these benches tucked under the roof lights at the back of the canteen where I used to sit back in the mid-1980s with all my pals. And we'd sit there in the dark after life drawing class and put the world to rights. And I saw that scene, and I just thought, oh my God, all these years that have passed, I don't know, 40 something years. And it was so nice to draw them and to reflect on how it might have been a rocky kind of a journey for a while, but it's all gone really well now, and I'm making art all the time, and that's as it should be. Oh, here's a strange pair of bedfellows. On the left, I have a little bottle of spirits. I used to be able to pronounce it according to that little speech bubble, but I've forgotten now. Anyway, very nice spirits. Got it in Greece, was painting it in class with my students. And on the right, I have a very kind of a squashed picture of a kabuki actor that I was doing because I love painting kabuki actors. And I love doing that kind of Japanese ukiyo stuff. It's great. Now, the next couple of drawings are from my trip to Mount Congreve in County Waterford. And I was there in the middle of June to do a kind of a course, a couple of classes with some very lovely students who came for the art and for the beautiful gardens in Mount Congreve. And this one it's in the wall garden, and all you can smell is the heady scent of roses and lavender and all kinds of beautiful things. Now, the weather was a bit mental. It was like thundering down in showers. And during one of those, I took refuge in the beautiful Georgian, was it Georgian or Victorian? Anyway, a beautiful old style greenhouse. And I drew the plants in the nursery. And it was actually a very simple subject, very, very enjoyable. So here you go. Here's what those plants look like. I liked the juxtaposition of the very simple line drawing with the nice plants. And over lunch that day, I decided to join in with the life model drawing. So one of the other tutors, Nina, was drawing this gorgeous life model, and she always makes her own clothes and everything, the model does. And I just managed to pop in a quick drawing of her over lunchtime. And I used the super granulating paints by Schminke, which is why they're kind of dull. But I really enjoyed that, just kind of a quick hurried sketch. This is a drawing of the cacti in the afternoon, because again, it was raining on and off in the afternoon. And I kind of pride myself in being well able to take the heat of, like, I don't know, hot places. But being in that greenhouse in the cactus nursery when the sun decided to come out, my God, that was no joke. And I nearly melted. I melted and ran out with a very red face in the end. I drew this with my students in my Monday class, but I got the slats all wrong and I made an absolute holy show of myself. I did such a bad job and it became known as Slatgate, and it was very embarrassing. But you have to accept when you've done something extremely badly from time to time. And the morning I was leaving, oh my gosh, it was such a beautiful, hot, sunny morning. And I stood there with my Sketchpocket hanging open in front of me. It's great because I can stand up and paint the whole thing start to finish. And I stood at the edge of the Strand Inn Hotel down in Dunmore East, and I painted the swimmers having very, very early swims down at the shore. And it was great. Really, really enjoyed that. A lovely way to spend a half an hour before I jumped into my car and hit the road back to Galway. Now, the evening before, I had spent an evening with my lovely tutor. Well, he wasn't my tutor at the time. He was just a colleague. Dave West is his name. And we stood side by side and did our respective interpretations of this kind of sea-stack thing, just on the outskirts of Dunmore East. I thought I was fast. I thought I was speedy, but Dave is even speedier. And he got 2 little oil sketches in the time I did one watercolour sketch. So that'll teach me to think I'm so great. It was a lovely evening, just painting side by side. Really, really enjoyable to share the same kind of passion for on-location sketching with a colleague. Now, I don't know if you know this, but if you listen to your phone without any earphones or headphones, and I'm on the same train as you or the same bus, well, I'm going to draw you unflatteringly. So I did this lady who was listening to her very stupid loud show without any earphones. So I drew her as unflatteringly as I possibly could. That'll show her. This one is from Enniskerry Village, where I was teaching up until the end of June. And on the left is a little sketch I did as a demo for my students. I don't know what the point of the demo was. I think it was making a unit of a shape and then using that to draw kind of more or less accurately. And then I had this blank page on the right, so I filled it in with the second half of the building. Now, this one is the hat produced by the wonderful people at Mount Congreve. I don't think much of this drawing at all, but I did it for a previous video. Here's another one you might recognise from one of my previous videos, which I did on values, the subject of values, which is basically how dark an area is with respect to the area right next to it. And if you get your values right, you will make your drawings full of drama and boldness and, beauty, hopefully. And I do like the sight of laundry on the washing line, and I love to draw them. It's ridiculous. Sometimes I just want to draw a pile of boxers, and then I think, don't be stupid, go and do something more productive. This is another from the illustration series, and no prizes for guessing who I'm channeling here. This is the great Dr. Seuss. Now, the little strange lady in the lilac dress is supposed to be me, and of course it's Reuben, as usual, on the left, and that's Solas Salou, which is what I used to think of Galway as, because it was like where they have no troubles, or at least very few. The next couple of sketches are a couple of small little demo sketches from Mount Congreve again. Again, I was trying to show how values, because it's always about values are the reason why that chair glows out white in the sunlight. And this sketch I actually quite like. I love using primary colours together for something. And I was off having coffee with my cousin Sarah, and she bought this packet of chips because she thought the bag was so nice, and because she thought it'd be a nice snack for me for my journey back to Galway, because she's lovely. I also drew the coffee cup of that she also bought me, and she said, do you want a nice new one? I said no, because I only wanted to draw it. So I was very happy sitting on the train sketching the whole way home. That's what I mean by sketching anywhere, any old thing. It's great. Well, this one is not just a very lovely picture of some flowers, it's also very romantic, because my husband bought me these flowers on the occasion of our 26th wedding anniversary, which took place in June of this year. I used a pink pen and pink ink to draw it, but then I thought, well, I haven't really done it as much as I wanted to do it. So I drew another one a little bit further away because I wanted to get the whole bottle in. It was a bottle of champagne given to me by one of my fabulous students who is just, I'm such a big fan of his, and he's an absolute dote. And I also drew the picture of the cards that I made for my husband because I thought it was very clever. And I didn't really want to draw it again, if you know what I mean, but I did want to show it as well. I forgot to mention the words that you can see. This is going to get even soppier and more romantic now. But the words that I wrote in the old Irish script, they're basically the words of a hymn that was sung at our wedding by a very beautiful singer called Laura. And they're from a poem called St. Patrick's Breastplate. And it's all about Christ at my side, Christ before me. It's lovely. It's lovely. You'd have to look it up. Now, this sketch is actually very special to me. It's drawn during the funeral of a very dear family friend, and you can see his casket there on the left with some beautiful flowers on top, and the Enniskerry clock tower is drawn on top because that's where he lived for his youth. And then on the right is just some drawings of the photos from the funeral. Here's another one of our illustration days, and this one is the great John Tenniel, who was the original illustrator of Alice in Wonderland. And once again we have Reuben taking the role of the I think it's the Mad March Hare. But I really liked the way John Tenniel used a very soft colour palette and did a load of cross hatching, because I don't normally do that. So that's what I mean by kind of discovering new ways of drawing and new approaches by channeling the work of other illustrators. It's a tried and tested way to learn, and it's great, very enjoyable too. I mentioned that I'd done a workshop in painting in plein air in oils with Dave West at the beginning of July. And it was really hot in Powerscourt Gardens where we were having the workshop. It was amazing. Such a beautiful place. It's actually very close to where I grew up in Enniskerry. And over lunch, I did a drawing of the view towards Sugarloaf in the distance and really worked on getting my values right to show the sunshine and the sunlight. Now, I don't know, I had greater or lesser degrees of success with my oil painting venture, but to try and maximise my chances of success, I did this little thumbnail of the trees that I chose for my last subject. But I don't know, my ego took a little bit of a bashing, so I did this drawing of my lovely mum out in her garden with her book, and this is exactly what my mum looks like. So I kind of felt my ego swell up a little bit, which is more situation normal. However, it took a little bit of a tumble the next day when I went back to Powerscourt Gardens and tried to draw the lily pond. And the reason it went so badly, well, it was partly my lack of skill, but it was also because it was hot as Hades and I just could not stand there and continue to roast. It was just too much for me. Now, the very next day, I went off to Bray Beach and took advantage of the sizzling sunshine by drawing on the beach and swimming in the sea and generally having an absolutely fabulous time. I drew that lady who had been buried up to her knees by her little child, and all I could draw was her little toes peeking out of the sun, making sure to get the nail polish on her little toesies, which was very, very nice. It was very nice. And while I'm on this page, I would like to recommend sketching people on the beach because they're just relaxing, having a lovely time, and they won't notice you drawing. And it's almost like a free life drawing session. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this little collection of stories of my life in the last 2 months. Well, as usual, that extremely reluctant employee of mine called Reuben is nowhere to be seen for his big moment in front of the camera. So instead, I'm just going to insert in this little video of Reuben sitting in his favourite mode of transport, the wheelbarrow, to help you to believe that the picture I did of Reuben in the wheelbarrow was based on reality. Well, I found him and I've kidnapped him. And as you can see, he has zero interest in being on the camera. But there you go. That's his misfortune, that Reuben has to be on the camera whenever I tell him to. Because, you know, it's a very hard life to be forcibly cuddled for 5 seconds and then to be released henceforth to run around the garden and continue to have a lovely day and do your own thing. What have we done today? Well, Reuben watched me pick some plums. And he watched me as if he was watching a tennis match, up and down, up and down, up and down. And finally, I realised that he was hoping that I would chuck the plums for him and so that he could chase after them. Other than that, he had a beautiful walk along the shore this morning and he looked at a foal. So he did. And what else did he do? He waded through a rocky stream at low tide. And other than that, he's just generally had a very nice time and he's feeling very sleepy. Reuben, you feeling very sleepy? Oh, he is. Oh, big yawn. All right. Well, look, Reuben wants to go now, so I suppose I'd better let him be released. Release the hound. I'll do that now. I mentioned at the start of the video that the best way to get into the habit of doing lots of sketching and sort of blurring the separation between your art and your life is to make sure that you've got some sketching kit with you at all times. So because I really got very, very addicted to sketching over the years, I decided to make myself a bag that started off as like loads of different shapes and sizes in canvas and cotton. But it evolved, and today my SketchPocket is made of beautiful cactus leather from Mexico. And it's just such a handy bag. It has everything in it. And of course, they're available on my website. And I'll tell you what is in a SketchPocket. Well, at the back, in the back pocket, I always have a collapsible water container in case I have a chance to do a longer sketching session. And there's slots in there for my travel cards as well, so that they're always really handy. Because I don't know about you, but I'm always flying around the place, going from A to B and wondering where I've put my travel card. So I like having it handy at the back there. And of course, it means I don't have to worry about my wallet. when I'm out and about, I don't bother bringing it with me. But if I do want to bring it with me, then my wallet fits in here along with my glasses and my phone. And what about the actual sketching bits inside? Well, this is what it looks like when it's open, and you can wear it over your shoulder and everything is nice and secure in the bag, and then you just take it out as and when you need to use it. So what do I have in here? Well, this is what comes in this filled sketch pocket. This is the book that you've just been looking at. This is the A6 100% cotton Hanamola sketchbook. Then we have the most colourful bit, the paints. This is what they look like when they're nice and new. They're by Reuben, and they come in colours that I've chosen really carefully to allow you to sketch in all kinds of situations. It also comes with an extra colour, a quinacridone magenta, which I find very useful for different mixes. What else does it come with? It comes with a Fude pen, the 55 degree by Sailor, and of course it comes with a little extra vial of ink, a little glass vial, and an ink sample of my favourite colour, which is brown, document ink by De Atramentis. Not forgetting the spare water in another little glass vial. These fit down the middle. And the reason I have a little glass vial for spare water, but I can't find it now, but I have I always have a travel brush with me, and that's by Sakura. Found it. This is what it looks like before it's open, but there's water in the handle. Well, you put water in the handle, which means that it's really convenient for standing up sketching when you don't have anywhere to sit, which happens a lot. I also have my white gel pen, so that I have an emergency corrector, if you will, for any little tiny areas of ink that I have got a little bit wrong, like a face. The tiniest marks on a face make a big difference, and these things come in really handy for that. They're also great for small little marks in white, like, I don't know, sparkles on the sea like you saw in that beach scene, or just little white dots or writing or something like that. So that's good for that. And here are two little magnetic clips that come with it, and what I do with these is I attach them to the edge of the book, the little sketchbook, and then the magnetic clip attaches to the bottom of the box, and that means that you can sketch standing up quite comfortably. But it also means that if there's any kind of breeze or anything, you can hold your pages down and they don't flap up, which is really annoying. So that is what you get in a SketchPocket. And in the filled version, you also get the A5 sketchbook, because that fits in the top pocket. So there you go, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed that. And don't forget that if you do want to buy all the kit and caboodle, and then you say, well, now what? You can come and try my classes for 2 weeks before you decide to commit. So you can try them completely free in a free trial, be part of the community, get all the classes, join us live, get all the recordings, and then you can decide whether you like what you see or not. And I have to say, we all have a lot of fun. We do. We really do. And we make the most of the small things, the everyday things. And of course, our sketching goes through the roof in terms of quantity and therefore in terms of quality. Okay, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Happy sketching.